Spring Carnival in Melbourne was an historic one. The cup won by a woman for the first time, Michelle Payne. But in the midst of all the booze and the betting, what about problem gamblers? Now, my guest tonight is a counsellor and a therapist and a happy housewife and the author of I Should Be Happy But I'm Not. Heidi Di Santo, good evening.
Good evening, Derryn.
Well, with a book like this, I suppose I should say to you, I mean, you are happy now.
Look, I am, but it was something that I often thought to myself because I had everything that should have made me happy. A house, a car, a beautiful family, husband, but deep down inside I was miserable. And then I started looking for ways to find inner peace because I was told that when I became depressed and I was told by the doctors, medication's your only way forward. And so I didn't like that answer and I wanted to look for ways that were going to help me. All
right, now some people trying to find their way out of such situations, they do get involved in addictions, they do get involved in gambling. And what I want to talk about this today with the Spring Carnival just behind us, that's just like being at a, I guess, be an alcoholic at Oktoberfest in Munich. How do people who have had this problem, how do they cope at a time when it saturates everything?
It's very interesting because what happens is if you are addicted to something, what happens is you don't trust your inner world. And so my work is about helping people to open up to what's going on inside. And with addiction, a lot of people think that the addiction is the problem, but the addictive behaviour such as gambling is actually a way a person is self-soothing. And so it's actually the part that's doing the addiction or the gambling is actually a part that's trying to help. It's just not helping in a helpful way.
So it's not only escapism, but it's also a world you can go into where all your problems don't exist?
It is. It's like escaping. It's escaping from what's going on. So underneath, as a therapist, which is what my main work is, underneath the addiction is the real problem. And what's going on is underneath this addictive behaviour is a part that's gone through something traumatic in the past. And it could be something such as being raped, but it doesn't have to be traumatic like that. It can be just not being picked up when you're a baby in a cot, and so you don't know what's underneath this addictive behaviour. But the reason so many people have problems when they go to see a therapist is that many therapists just work with the gambling habit, and that's not the part that you need to work with.
Yeah, because they look at the top there and say, well, you're a gambler, and you know it's wrong, and you think, I'm trying to put it in a nice way, you know it's wrong, you think, well, gee, I know I'm weak, but I think I can handle it a bit, and I can do this, I can do that, and also the other worst part is, and I'll be able to gamble my way out of the problem.
Yeah, look, it's interesting. When I've talked to people about coming to speak to you and they ask me, what am I speaking about? And they say, their face just goes white. So many people this week have said, and these are people I've known for years, have said, do you know we've lost our entire house because such and such gambled? Or do you know we've lost months of wages because of this? Do you know our family is hurting? It's not just the person that's gambling and the person that is addicted that's in pain. It's everyone surrounding that person. So it's having a huge impact on society.
But you've also got the combination, and it's lauded, booze and betting and alcohol and Melbourne Cup Week all go together. So if you are going to gamble at all, should you set a limit and say, well, I'll take $50 out of the bank. That's my bank for the week. Is that the way you do it?
Look, a lot of people can trust themselves and they're able to do that. But say, for instance, someone who's got a really full-on addiction, and it might be someone who's, they're addicted to the pokies, and so they just are able to numb out when they've got all the dinging and the machines, and even when you're winning, even when you're losing, the machines say that you're winning, and that's how it can become so addictive. And it's really, for me, in order to take control, it's about taking control of your inner world. And there is this therapy called resource therapy that works with parts and works and gets and delves and cuts right into the core of the problem. So it gets under the addiction and heals the part that is actually in trauma.
All right, now in your book here, I Should Be Happy But I'm Not, you obviously are an optimistic person because you spell out in this about optimism and pessimism. Tell me about the cracked pot, not the crackpot, the cracked pot.
It's an ancient Chinese fable, and it's of a woman who, back in the old days when there was no running water, she used to have these two pots that she'd carry on a stick, and one of them had a big crack down its side, and the other one always delivered a full portion of water to the house. And this lady every day carried these two pots of water up to the house, and the crack pot in imaginary world was able to speak to the lady, and the crackpot said, I feel ashamed because here's this other perfect pot. It's able to deliver this perfect full portion of water to you every time we go down to the river, and I feel like such a failure because I'm only able to deliver half of what I'm meant to be able to do. And she goes, haven't you looked on the side of your path? She goes, I've known about your flaws, and on your side of the path there's all these beautiful flowers, and they're only there because of your flaws. And I think what happens is we tend to try and cover our flaws up, whereas in fact my work is all about opening up and embracing the whole parts, or every part of you, so that you can really start to bloom, because everyone is pretty special inside, but we tend to put on that mask and pretend.
Look, there's one final point, but you talk about self-love,
Yep.
which is, and I suppose it's an extension of ego, is not a dirty word, but you say that self-love, I think I read, never criticise yourself. Well, surely you have to criticise yourself to find, if you think you've got a fault, you've got to recognise it.
Look, that's important, but that's not criticising. I don't see that as criticising yourself. I think that's becoming self-aware. But if you're sitting, if you're speaking to yourself and you're saying, Derryn, you're an idiot, you've done this, that actually makes you feel worse inside and it demotivates you. But if you're able to sit there and think, okay, well, we didn't do the best at this attempt, but we'll be able to do better next time, and I suppose coax yourself along in a positive way,
well, I'm glad
life starts to become easier.
I'm glad you're not near my computer screen, because it's always, I sit there and I say, Derryn, you bleeping idiot, you've done this.
We need to have a chat, Derryn.
I'm too old, too late and too old to change. Anyway, Heidi, it's called I Should Be Happy But I'm Not. Well, obviously you are, and it's nice to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Heidi Di Santo.